It's 4 degrees out and we have to go do the wood stove. I don't know what time it is. It must be probably 9:30 in the morning. Be heavy. And last night, the last time I put any wood in the wood stove was probably about 6:30 last night. So we gotta go top her off, or maybe not top it off. I'll add something to get us through the day, and then before we go to bed tonight, I'll top it back off. So let's go check it out. My wood stove is currently coming down in temperature. It was, my wood stove goes from 185 to 175. That's what the factory recommended when I got this wood stove literally 20 years ago, 2004. We have a good pile of coals in there from last night. It's not roaring because the damper's been closed. This doesn't have a blower or anything on it like that. It just has a damper and it works flawlessly. I am so pleased with this wood stove. There is nothing on this thing that can go bad, maybe except the temperature sensor. And, you know, other than a pump and a switch here and there, but it's pretty simple. This is not a gasification stove. This is the central boiler 5648. I think there's about 400 gallons of water in it. Oh, just opened up. Just opened. So now it's calling for heat. So that just dropped below 175. We're gonna stir this around a little bit. Yeah, it's getting full, but this is mostly coal right now. Not coal, but coals. Let's get that opened up and let it breathe. I like my coals to break down, turn to ash. You can see how much I've burned. Let's see, probably 8 foot deep, 7 foot high by 12 foot across. So you can do the math and determine how many cord I've burnt so far. But I've also burned many, many trailer loads. You saw the farm wall sitting out there. That was the slab wood I cut up a couple weeks ago. It got a bunch of snow on it now, so I'm gonna have to wait to burn the rest of it. There's probably just a few pieces left in the dump box. But there's sort of just a few pieces in here. So let's get this thing. Just so I don't have to carry 20 pieces over. That's what like this is for. These are pretty big pieces. Oh, that's a piece of pine. This wood stove will burn up to 4 foot pieces, but I split them so my wife can handle them. Oh, there's another piece of pine. We had a few big chunks of pine out there that didn't get milled up that I chopped up into firewood. That's all. She's really going now. If you put your wood stove inside like this, I built a cupola up there. That really makes a big difference. I also like to keep it clean in here. I like to keep it, especially in front of the wood stove, clean. And I also clean up this stuff. All this slash, pieces of bark, and just debris. Just so there's no fire hazards. cold today. I think I mentioned it. Well, it was down to 0 last night, but zeros. I think it's about 3 or 4 degrees right now. So I'm just going to load this back up so it's ready to go tonight. And tonight we'll bring it back out here and we'll see where we're at on the wood stove. When it's cold like this, usually I have to fill it up twice a day. I didn't fill it, it's probably halfway filled today. I can put a couple rows like that in there. You know, so I'm only in the middle of the firebox. I can push that over to the back and put a whole other row in there. But, on to what I was about to mention. This is my newest wood. This is the latest wood. This will be the stuff I cut last. This was probably cut this spring. You saw maybe a video of that, me harvesting it. That was this whole bunk. It's 8, well, you see how tall it is, 7 feet tall by 8 feet by 14 feet. So that will be next year's wood. I'll probably get into a little bit of this year, but only a couple of rows maybe. Maybe we won't even, I don't know if we will or not. But now what I'm doing is I'm working to the wall and that side out. I will leave the exterior rows up just to keep the wind out until the late spring, maybe like in April. I'll push them in and that's when I'll start loading up the other wood that I have started cutting. I probably have 5 or 6, maybe more than that, cord down in the woods right now, cut up, ready to pick up. And I have couple, maybe a cord on the outside ready to throw in here once I push the walls in. To load this up, this is nice oak. This is 2-year-old wood. Well, this is Tuesday. My heat load isn't great on the weekdays because my wife's not home. It's just me during the day. I don't have the grandkids today, so I don't have to keep the house. I'll keep the house just at 70. In the evening it goes up to 72. That's the perfect size right there. Probably 20 inches to 22 inches long. I love those sizes. 1, they fill up the box quick. I don't have to make as many trips. And 2, they burn a long time and it's oak. As you can see, it's rip roaring now. It doesn't take much. That wood, like I said, it's pretty dry, so you can see how well that caught. This wood stove, it has some baffles, and you start getting reburn up there. Let me show you. It's really interesting. Can you see that up there? There you go. And you see how that fire in the back is starting to swirl, and it'll start reburning up there. Now these stoves, they claim don't burn as clean as the gasification stoves, but let's go take a look outside. Let me close this up. Take a look outside and see how clean it's coming out of the chimney. Guys, look at that. Hardly anything coming out. Not disappointing at all. Saved me many, many thousands of dollars. We heat our water, we make hot water with the wood boiler, and we heat our garage. And our house is 3,000 square feet plus the basement, which is another 2,000. The garage is a little over 1,000. So we're heating quite a bit of space, and it does great. But you can't be a couch potato. You light this up in October and you're slave to it until April. You can kind of see how deep our snow is. I think we're looking at probably close to 16 inches. We had 8 inches last Tuesday, and then over the weekend we got probably another 8 to 10 inches. You can't see it. It's really fine. It's this lake effect stuff. It just keeps coming. And we'll get another probably 2 or 3 inches today, every day. I'm going to show you guys something that I struggle with, and I'm sure most of you do. Every single time I put on boots, especially these Mickey Mouse boots. I like these because I don't tie them. They just slip on and off. But regardless, any kind of boots, this has been a common theme for 58 years of my life. Look at that. Hey, at least it stayed on this time. Alright guys, it's 8:30. About not quite 12 hours later, about 11 hours later, we're going to go check it out, check the wood stove out, and see where we're at. I just noticed my outdoor lights burned out. Alright, let's see where we're at. Let's open it up. It burned it all. The high today was only like 5 or 6 degrees, so might have been a little, maybe 8. Alright, let's stir that back up. I'll take you along with me in a week or so. I'm going to start emptying some of these ashes out. I've already emptied it out once. I spread it across my lawn. Alright, so let's go there. Alright. That was 16 pieces of oak and those, or 16 pieces total, 3 of them were pine. So that's 13 pieces of oak. What's that? Going to equate to about 1.5 or so per hour of those size logs to heat that big area. Not bad. I'm pretty happy with that. We're at the 185 mark right now, so that's why the damper's closed. It's done heating up, so we got out here right as that thing was finishing up its heating cycle. On this particular central boiler, my pump runs 24/7. I like that feature. I know some of these other ones only turn on when the house calls for heat. This one doesn't. So if I was to go on vacation and not take care of this, it won't freeze because the furnace in the house would turn on. I don't have dual thermostats. I have one thermostat that runs it all, and I was able to trick my furnace. So it thinks I used an aquastat down there. When the water gets below 120 degrees, it automatically switches over to propane. So I never have to worry about switching over from one to the other. It does it automatically, guys. It's a slick setup. Me and another guy came up with it. So we're really happy with that. So if I was to leave, I have in my plenum of my furnace, I have a heat exchanger. Well, the propane would heat the water in this. So it wouldn't freeze this. Now, granted, it would not be efficient to heat my house that way because I'd be also heating this water. But it won't freeze. And how do I know that? I've done it before. We've gone for a week and we've left it. Now, usually we get somebody to tend it for us, but if they can't make it, it's not a big deal because we will be able to keep this from freezing. Guys, that's my central boiler, 5648. I've had this, like I said, since 2004. I keep track of every day I start it. Well, that wood's dry. It's already catching. And I even put it in the cement down there with all the kids' names too when we did that. So that's a day of my life burning firewood in this thing. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment or any ideas. After 20 years of using this stove, I think I pretty much have it figured out and ironed out, but I'm always looking for different ideas. I just showed you the chimney stack. We're out here. This is going to be the third fill you're going to see. This is the next morning. It's about 10 o'clock, maybe a little later than that. So it's been about 14 hours since we last put wood in that. Again, no smoke coming out of that. Also, I suspect all the wood's burned. It's all down to coals. That's my guess. Let's go find out. It's at 172, as you can see. That's what we have left. Not bad. So let's pull. And it was down to 0 last night, close to 0, some zeros in some areas around here. So I had to check the maximum thermometer this morning, but it's cold. As you can see, I put a pretty big dent in this yesterday though, didn't I? Still dealing with some of this pine. My wood of preference in this stove is oak. And there's a few reasons for that. One, oh darn it. Well, that was unfortunate. I have a saying, use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. It's an old saying from World War II, I believe. I'll use it up. I'll fix it. And so my favorite wood to burn is red oak. It's burns long, it burns hot once it gets going. It does take a little bit to dry. So most of my wood is always a year to a year and a half old. And then the second batch, that bunk will be 2.5 years. The 2 to 2.5 years when I get to it. I think in the next year or so, I'm going to be burning a lot of maple. A lot of maple showed up this year from my daughter's property. As you saw, may have seen that video of all those logs coming in. Literally hundreds of them. 8 16-foot logs. As you can see, that stuff already caught. In honesty, if it was only in the 30s or low 20s, I'd probably put half this wood in or just do it once a day. This would be enough wood for the whole entire day. But when you get to the zeros, that's when we really, as you know, everybody does, you start really burning the wood. Demands on the heating system are quite a bit more. Oop. I definitely need to get this thing cleaned out. There you go. I like to get those coals burned down a little bit because I do want to clean it. So we're going to call that. We're going to call that good for now. Another thing I try to do, if you look way back there, there's a line. That's a baffle coming down, and then it goes back up to the chimney. That way the flame stays in the box. I try not to get my logs back there. I see one fell behind it. That will happen. But I try to keep all my logs this side of that baffle. So just since we've been out here, because I opened this door, it went down 4 more degrees. If you're thinking about getting a wood stove or an outside boiler, the cost might be shocking at first, but you will recoup your money in no time. You know, I got to make a decision when this does fail in the next, I don't know how many years, 20 years old, and that's about when they start corroding and falling apart. Do I do this again? You know, I'm going to be 58 in a couple of weeks. Do I get another one? I think I'm going to, due to the fact that getting out there, cutting firewood is a lot of exercise, and it's, as we get older, you know, I'm not afraid of exercise. A lot of times we start slowing down, and this will force me to keep doing the good fight and getting my body moving and taking care of what God gave me here. So, plus, I have 75 acres of oak trees, and a lot of them died. Alright guys, we'll see you at the mill, the lumber yard, fireplace, the boiler next time. This video may have gotten longer than I wanted it to. Check the water level. Oh yeah, still looks good.